Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our February 22nd voting session. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order, and if you could please stand, we're going to have an invocation given by Councilwoman Martinez, followed by a pledge to the flag.
Bow your heads. Father God, I come before you this evening as a member of the elected body for the city of Hagerstown. Let your supernatural wisdom saturate the atmosphere as we commit this meeting to you. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path that's best for the constituents of Hagerstown. Help us be righteous and just. Let your will be done in the matchless name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are going to follow the rules of procedure effective December 15th, 2020. Please make sure your cell phones are muted. Any correspondence for distribution to elected officials should be provided to the city clerk and should include a copy for the city clerk. Our meeting schedule for March will be as follows. On March 1st, we have our State of the City at 7 a.m. at the Maryland Theater. March 1st, 8th, and 15th, we'll have work sessions at 4 p.m. And on March 22nd, we will have a regular session at 7 p.m. We do have an appointment today to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Can I have a motion for the appointment?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we have some special guests in our audience. I just want to recognize today we have with us Troop 166. And I'm just going to read your names. If you could just stand up and be acknowledged, please. We have with us Jillian Davis, Lucy Brooks, Reagan Chapin, Jenna Sable, Caitlin Hurst, and Jordan Fox. And with them, we have Connie Eckert, Ruth Hutzel, Erica Hurst, Brad Neeser, Ryan Chapin, and Mike Brooks. Thank you guys very much for joining us. If you want to come up front, I have some pins to give you.
Clap.
After the pins, after the pictures.
I mean, I feel like
After the pins, after the pictures. Thank you.
thank you.
Why am I still shaking?
Oh, wait, so which one's he? That one.
Donna. I have the same stuff. The same
To
stuff.
the other
We
side.
all have the
Oh, wait, give me that one. Give me
Oh,
one.
my blanket's stuck.
These are all the same. They're all the same. Yeah.
I have the
Huh?
public hearing.
Yeah.
Public hearing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, could you guys come back up so we can get a photo? Is that okay? Troop, thanks.
And clap. And we need to clap.
I think she's figured it out.
What do you say? And we can photo bomb.
You get one.
What do you say? Somebody move to the top step, one level up. Okay, here we go. Good smiles. Okay, good smiles in 1, 2, 3. Come on. I got it.
There's the clap.
right, we have citizen comments today. We have 3 people signed up. When you come up, please state your name and address, and then you have 5 minutes. First, we have Stan Brown.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Stan Brown, Jr. The Council may recall I was here December 23rd regarding the Colonel Henry Kidd Douglas Drive, south of Hagerstown. Just to bring a little background, I'm pursuing, trying to get that name changed due to the negative connotations that toward black people and of color, citizens of color, since it's named for a Confederate person, Confederate Army officer. When I was here on December 23rd, I requested the council consider adopting a resolution to send to the county to support the name change. I realize the road is not in city jurisdiction, but since it's so close to the city of Hagerstown, I think it reflects upon the city of Hagerstown and its residents. At that time, I believe the council said that you would consider a letter of support as opposed to a letter of resolution. So I'm wondering if the council has taken that under consideration in terms of a letter of support to send to the county.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
It was sent in January,
Okay.
after our public session here.
Okay. Thank you so much. And on behalf of, I know this sounds like a lecture, but on the thousands of black people who were lynched during that time and all the black people and persons of color who suffered under Jim Crow, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have Mr. Stout.
Good evening. Michael Stout, STAUP, 18 South Mulberry. I'm not going to rehash anything that I've been through about these numbers. 26 South Mulberry, 34, 36 South Mulberry. This is no joke. Now, you might want to extend me a couple minutes because since Thanksgiving, there has been a death in one of those buildings. There has been women running down the street without tops on. The needles are again starting. The people sent me here on the first block. They wanted to come, but they're not going to come as friendly as I am anymore. Now, you all are elected. I'm not in here for political. I'm not in here to put anybody down. Stadiums are fine. Arenas are fine. Clara Barton statues are fine. But I walked up Washington Street to come here tonight. Has anybody saw the ceiling laying in the middle of the sidewalk in the street? Has anybody saw the dog doo-doo all up and down the sidewalks? But what's going on in those buildings, and you have been over there to see that 26, that is a disgrace that's in the backyard there. It is stinking now. It's reeking. They are now sitting there shooting up with spoons, cooking up and leaving the spoons. We have called the Hagerstown police. We have done those police have run themselves ragged. The ambulance has been up the street at that building, I don't know how many times in the past 2 weeks. I witnessed it all hours of the night. Now, I will tell you this, that I now know how to send pictures. I'm going to send you my walking tour to you people up there. I'm not going to give it to the media. If I give it to the media, you're really not going to like me. So I'm going to send it to you all. I know how to do that now. You're not going to get 100 pictures. I've put it down. I'd like you to take a serious look at that. And as far as I'm concerned, what's being allowed to go on, now I've phoned Williamsport today. So that's all I'm going to say about that. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure of that. I talked to them very well today. What had come back to the city, which we thought we had eradicated, they are back. The people are running all over all hours of the night. Look, I'm not here to, but it's bad right now. Somebody needs to open their eyes and take a look. What I saw coming up Washington Street was enough that I had to dart in and out of dog doo-doo all over the street. And the ceilings laying all over the sidewalk. Chairs on the other side broke up laying on the sidewalk. 34, 36, today was our trash morning. The trash is this high up there. TV's busted up. Somebody's not doing their job in this city. Because I have called personally Second of all is, are you all giving out the trash schedule? Now, I know our street is no change this year, but people don't know that. I phoned, the lady was very nice at the trash. She mailed me 3 things I gave the neighbor on each side. We have not got those. That's important for the neighbors to know when the trash. Now, I've tried to tell them there's no change for our zone. But you people really need to take a look, because as far as I'm concerned, what's going on up the street is murders. And you know my situation. I was into drugs, HIV, everything. I'm not hiding anything back from you. But you really need to take a look at what's going on, because something's not working with that 26, 34, 36. And I've been promised this and that, but we still see it going on. And the neighbors are not very happy up that upper end. My end, they started back in the corner building on South Mulberry, East Washington, across from the barber shop. They kicked the door in and were in there living after we ran them out of there. So I'm just here to tell you that I'm not going to stop. And if you're not taking me serious, but I'm going to send you that, I hope you look at it. And I'm not here to put you down or anything. I'm all for everything that's going to work. But something's not working. And somebody needs to come in our backyards and take a look at what's happening to all the yards are sinking. Something's wrong in the backyards. It's sinking. Everybody's noticing it. Now the cracks are starting up the building. Insurance companies, my neighbor, the insurance company was in, looked at his house. Something's wrong. Either it's up there at that 26 or it's at the garage. But I will tell you this, that something is wrong. And we'll go from there, but I appreciate it. And the gentleman there, Mr. Alshar, I want to tell you that I was impressed that you did worry about income, the tax. I will say that. Take a look at what happened in Frederick. They closed there. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn.
All right. All right, up next we have our public hearing for the redesignation of the A&E district.
Good evening. I'm Jill Thompson, Director of Community and Economic Development. And I'm here to give an overview of the Arts and Entertainment District before opening it up to public comments. So the purpose of the public hearing is to consider the application of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Hagerstown for the redesignation of the Arts and Entertainment District by the state of Maryland. The Arts and Entertainment District is located within Washington County and the corporate boundaries of the City of Hagerstown. Information and the proposed new boundaries can be viewed online at the city's website, www.hagerstownmd.org. So I'll run you through a quick PowerPoint presentation to set the stage and to give an overview. The Arts and Entertainment District was originally created in 2001 and designated for the period of 2001 to 2012. And then we did receive a redesignation for 2012 to 2022. So the Arts and Entertainment District is 20 years old, and we're preparing for the next 10 years, a redesignation that will take us to 2032. The designation is given to us by the Maryland State Arts Council within the State Department of Commerce, and there are 29 arts and entertainment districts across the state, with the goals to develop, promote, and support artistic and cultural centers across Maryland, to preserve a sense of place, provide unique local experiences, to attract tourism, to spur economic revitalization, and create neighborhood pride. Our Arts and Entertainment District Advisory Council are Kristin Holt, Kalim Johnson, Melissa Knoll, Scott Powell, and Evan Smedley. And Kristin is with us tonight. There's many accomplishments over the last 20 years for the Arts and Entertainment District, including the Urban Improvement Project, which involved the expansion of the Maryland Theater, the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts expansion, as well as the creation and expansion of the Hagerstown Cultural Trail, many public art and mural installations, and aspects of the implementation of the city's community City Center plan, and programming the district with a number of special events and festivals. Just a sampling include our Imagine Hagerstown event, Art Outside, Music in the Square, the Holiday Tree Lighting and Holly Fest, the Maryland International Film Festival, performances by BISFA, the Maryland Theater, year-round schedule of performances, and the Maryland Symphony Orchestra, just to name a few. Throughout our redesignation, we work in partnership, and this is just a sampling list of all of the partners that support the Arts and Entertainment District for the 20 years of our current designation. It includes downtown arts and entertainment businesses and studios, key arts and entertainment institutions, including BISFA, the Maryland Theater, the Museum of Fine Arts, the Washington County Arts Council, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Symphony Orchestra, the library, and Discovery Station, just to name a few. There are 3 incentives that make up the Arts and Entertainment District. First is a real estate tax credit, which provides a 10-year tax credit on the change in assessed value for qualifying renovation projects that create either artist housing or space for arts and entertainment enterprises. This applies to both city and county real estate taxes provided to the property owner. And the current tax rate is 50% of the change in assessed value for a 10-year period. The proposed change in that tax rate, which is under consideration by the mayor and city council, is the second chart on this slide, which would be 100% for the first 3 years, followed by 2 years at 80%, 2 years at 60%, 2 years at 40%, and then 30%. An additional incentive of the Arts and Entertainment District is exemption from admission and amusement tax. This exemption is for qualifying visual and performing arts enterprises. It applies to the tax on gross receipts resulting from an admission or ticketed entry charge. And the third incentive of the Arts and Entertainment District is personal income tax subtraction. And this is for qualifying resident artists of the state of Maryland related to income from the sale, publication, or production of artistic work within the district. In preparation for the redesignation, we held community input and listening sessions, including 37 attendees of both an in-person and a Zoom session. And we also had a community survey with over 346 responses. We presented an initial draft of the boundaries, and we listened to the feedback received. And the current proposed boundaries of the Arts and Entertainment District are shown on this map. And I will walk you through each of the areas of the expansion of the Arts and Entertainment District. First, the overall area is a net acreage of 160 acres. That takes a total of 225 acres less green space in the district for that net figure. And the overall justification for a larger Arts and Entertainment District is that the 20 years of success has spurred additional development and activity and arts programming in a wider geographic area. And this is an expected and desired evolution of a district of our age. And this wider area will strengthen the Arts and Entertainment District's goals of cohesiveness and collaboration. In the north side, the Dolman Black Heritage Museum site, as well as the Jonathan Street corridor and Wheaton Park, are being proposed to be included. There is a concept phase status of the redevelopment of the old Coca-Cola plant for the Dolman Black Heritage Museum. There's additional redevelopment activity happening in this area along Jonathan Street. There's significance in the cultural heritage of this neighborhood commercial district. And there's also the development of public space and public art in this area that is expected to continue. The Market House area proposed to be included has property that is under contract to a private developer, plans for a brewery and entertainment businesses that include indoor and outdoor special events and live entertainment. The West Washington Street area includes areas for redevelopment, as well as the Miller House and the Washington County Historical Society. The multi-purpose stadium site, in addition to a full schedule of independent league baseball games, this facility will host community events. It will become the largest outdoor performance venue in our downtown core. The waiver of admission and amusement tax on eligible ticketed events will attract the utilization of this facility for other purposes and year-round purposes and keep ticket prices reasonable. Eligible artists that use this facility will also benefit from the income tax subtraction. The Baltimore Street and Greenwood District development area, there's property redevelopment and small business development activity happening in this area, and the Arts and Entertainment District tools will help to attract new investment. The Greenwood District is a community-based organization that's focused on empowering and inspiring minorities to close the wealth gap and create generational wealth through networking and entrepreneurship programs. The Washington County Museum of Fine Arts, City Park, and the Cultural Trail is also proposed for inclusion. The Museum of Fine Arts is located in City Park and is among the leading arts attractions in the city of Hagerstown. The 10-year Community City Center plan calls for connecting downtown to the Museum of Fine Arts with the Cultural Trail. And there's also exploration of expansion and possible renovation of the Bach Oil site in City Park, which would be included in the Arts and Entertainment District. And then lastly, expansion to the development site of Hospital Hill, the former hospital site. This property is positioned for development following the demolition of the hospital. There's opportunities for future uses for cultural heritage and tourism. Inclusion in the Arts and Entertainment District will provide some additional tools that will attract or could attract new investment and a use that would contribute to arts, entertainment, cultural heritage, and tourism. Just one more set of tools to attract new investment to this vacant land. Through the community input, the Advisory Council developed a set of goals, and the redesignation calls for a set of goals and a marketing plan for the first 5 years of the designation. So I wanted to share just briefly some of the draft thinking toward the 5-year goals that was from the feedback from the listening session and the survey. So first is to cultivate a welcoming environment within the Arts and Entertainment District, focusing on increased awareness, walkability, safety, cleanliness, lighting, and promotion of additional awareness. A second goal is to support existing business and to explore new retail opportunities. Ideas here include building more awareness and engagement with businesses and community stakeholders. The third goal is to offer and promote diverse and inclusive experiences. The ideas here include working with our Main Street Hagerstown program, offering events and encouraging diversity, inclusiveness, and collaboration for businesses both inside the district and throughout the city. And a fourth goal is to attract and engage financial investment. Targeted business attraction, also supporting property redevelopment, and utilizing incentive tools are part of this goal. And the fifth goal is to support inclusivity of local art and entertainment organizations, regardless of the location across the city. And some activities here, increasing awareness of events through cross-marketing, building and strengthening reciprocal relationships. A quick look at the marketing plan for the 5 years. My clicker has stopped advancing. Oh, there we go. Okay. So 7-point marketing plan that includes marketing research, rebranding, website presence, and social media presence. Also campaign marketing, communications, and collaboration with local stakeholders.
It's new. It's a new sound.
Additionally, partnerships on marketing efforts, positive word-of-mouth messaging, engagement with local artists to hear ideas for their marketing strategies, and promotion of the Arts and Entertainment District throughout the next 10 years. A timeline as we move forward, we're working toward a submission to meet the deadline by the state of March 30th, and the approval of a resolution that sets the tax incentives as well as the boundaries at the regular session in March. And I would like to officially enter into the record 15 letters of support that have been received. I'll name the organizations: Barbara Ingram School for the Arts, Bowman Development, Douglas Zaruba, the Greater Hagerstown Committee, the Hagerstown Washington County Industrial Development Foundation, High Rock, the Maryland Theater, One Step Closer, University System of Maryland at Hagerstown, the Valley Arts Association, the Washington County Arts Council, the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, the Washington County Museum of Fine Arts, Wish Kitchens and Bath, and Wright Gardner Insurance. And letters are still coming in as we prepare for the application. I would also like to enter into the record the certificate of advertisement for the public hearing, advertised on February 8th and February 15th. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we get to the speakers who signed up, do you guys have any questions for Jill?
I have a couple of questions, Jill. So when you look at the district, and I guess I've been trying to look at it a little more, and I tried to phrase some of those questions in the email that I had this past week. I guess I look at some of the expansion areas and I have some questions associated to the thought process. By example, when it's expanded, and I'll just use the 3 points that it's generally expanded in as that curiosity. So it looks like it includes the Park Circle Animal Hospital, right? But not that historic house next to it that functions as some type of business entity. You know what I mean? And so you've got, I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but you've got Park Circle Animal Hospital, and then there's the building that has the spiral sort of, you know, tower-shaped corner to the property, the structure itself. And I know that it's been a number of different things over the course of years. It's not a house. It's always sort of functioned as some type of business entity. So I just found it odd that, like in that instance, and then when you go over to the hospital location, the former site of the hospital, it includes Hospital Hill, but it doesn't include the space directly next to it, which is also holdings of the hospital property that would be the parking area. So that's that large flat parking area that's below the big stone wall where the hospital used to sit. So I'm just curious, the thought process there. And then when you go out to the Jonathan Street corridor, it looks like it includes 2 properties that the city has some direct holdings or dealings with, but not really any other properties along the Jonathan Street corridor that could stand to benefit from that change, i.e. the current market house and the proposed museum and park area. Am I to assume that linear direction there is meant to hold the bounds of the street and not the properties that abut the street?
And I can start with that one first, and I can ask Kathy to join as you want to make additional comments. That the area along Jonathan Street is the commercially zoned area, and then it follows the line as it goes through a neighborhood and residentially zoned area. to the Coca-Cola plant, which is where, the former Coca-Cola plant building, which is where the Dolman Black Heritage Museum has under contract for redevelopment. So it is identified for the commercial district where we would foresee the redevelopment activity to take place. And Kathy, any additional comments that you want to share related to these two areas and how it might relate to zoning?
I'm not sure that a whole lot of thought process went into the vet clinic down at Park Circle. This could just be a mapping issue. The intent was to follow the trail and get over to the park.
I hear that, and I look at this drawing, and part of the trail appears to be outside of the new area. In other words, the properties that are residential next to Chick Seafood are included, but not the properties across the street. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to marry that differentiation between residential and commercial. And there's an example where one side of the street will clearly benefit that is residential, that the other side of the street, which is also residential, does not benefit from, and they're both juxtaposed or positioned along that specific corridor of the trail.
And those are certainly areas that we can give more thought as we hear the community input, hear your input, and then come back with a final map.
The second question I have is, it appears that the expansion in the areas to the east and west, or north and south, sorry, east and west on the map I'm looking at, being the park and the museum and park area to the north and south along that linear path, what I hear is there is potential for development of those areas for museum-oriented operations. And one of the questions that I tried to figure out in my communication was, these are largely for non-profit-oriented redevelopment activities, right? Let's take the one near the park where the museum's talking about, or the Heritage Museum at the other end. If they are nonprofit entities to begin with, and therefore not going to be subject to property taxes for the city of Hagerstown, I'm trying to figure out if that means they also get the benefit of county and state changes in assessment, or if it's just for the city, because what would be the purpose of inclusion? Is it because of incentives or some other reason? Because if it's just the city, they're not going to pay the city anyway.
It's not for the real estate property tax incentive, as you note that they would be ineligible as a tax exempt entity, but more so for the income tax subtraction, so that if Maryland artists are performing or selling their artistic work in City Park associated with that redevelopment activity, that they, or in that area of the redevelopment activity, that they would be eligible for the income tax subtraction.
Okay. And then the next question that I asked, I think I asked it at the last meeting, I just posed it there, is when you put that chart up on the board for those properties that will be taxed, and let's take the example of the new stadium. So the way I understand it is, what will happen is, for the 10 years, and once we include it in this, for the 10 years after that process, it'll be 3 years at 100%, like 3 years at 80%, and then down to 40 and 30, right? So what will happen is that investment will change the assessable value of that property, but it will still be taxed like it's still a laundromat and a county administration building, right?
That would determine its base value, and of which to determine the change in assessed value.
Right.
And the change in assessed value only for the portion that is used for arts and entertainment activity.
So somebody will make that calculation at some point in the future. We don't know that number, but somebody will make that calculation.
Right.
And that subtraction, if you will, won't apply to their county and state taxes, correct? That's just a city number.
Currently, it applies to both city and county. The county is at the current level of 50% for 10 years.
Okay. So we don't know if the county's gonna make that change as well.
And we're in conversations with them to determine their interest in changing to match ours or maintaining what they currently have on their books.
I guess, I would hope folks would understand my concern that we'll be the ones providing all the services once that occurs, you know what I mean? If the county and state don't change, they'll be the ones that benefit from that change, you know, in assessment value. I think that was part of the point I was trying to get across. And the last point I'll make is, you know, I went back and looked at the 2012 analysis when the site was proposed for a change in stadium, and one of the things you cite in your presentation here is that eligibility for a waiver of the arts and amusement tax for those eligible activities, right?
Correct, admission and amusement tax.
And so when I look at that number, and I think Michelle gave us some numbers last week or so when we had this conversation, in that analysis at that time, when the proposal was made, the number was supposed to jump from, you know, it's 190,000 up to like 450,000 a year. And so I guess I just have to sort of put myself in that position again to weigh what will happen is we'll forego that for the next 10 years as it applies to property tax assessment change, which when I look at that analysis is about $7.5 million. And as well, those activities, you know, won't generate that amusement tax, which will be, you know, foregoing, let's say, $200,000 a year, being fair to, you know, to that estimate, you know, or another $1 million, $2 million. And so it's odd to me that we are making this, taking this action, knowing that those numbers are of the nature that they are, and the city will be the entity that, you know, will have to bear, you know, covering for that, you know, absence of revenue.
I realize I don't think Michelle's in here, correct? I don't see her.
I don't see Michelle.
But I only have to think that the county admin building, or permits building, currently as it stands, which is not a taxable entity, so we get absolutely no revenue from that building itself, is assessed at some value. And I believe when I looked the last time, and it was a while back, and I wish I would have had time to look it up earlier, but I believe it was assessed somewhere around 1.2 million. So I think in the grand scheme of things, although we aren't going to see an increase in the property tax of either the laundromat or the old car wash, we are going to see some increase because the county office building isn't taxed now and is assessed at 1.2 million. And it's, you know, it's only on the improved portion, and 100% is only for 3 years, and then it drops to 80, and then it drops to 60, and then it drops to 40, and then it drops to 30, and then it goes away. So we are going to see some increased revenue in that area, taxable revenue, or revenue from property tax in that area to help offset some costs for services. Do I know if that's going to be enough? Absolutely not. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. I don't think anybody has the idea. We asked the chief in the last meeting what he thought, you know, police charges would be in that area, how much you have to increase it. He doesn't have a clue. All right. So we're making assumptions on things that we have no solid fact to back it up with. Having said that, I am in favor of moving this project forward. Thank you.
You guys have any other questions for Jill?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to open it up to the citizens who have signed up to speak. So if you could come up and state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes. And it looks like we have signed up first the world-famous Tom Ryford.
World-famous.
There's a celebrity upon us.
Thank you.
Celebrity extraordinaire.
World famous.
I don't know if I'm going to live up to that, but thank you, Madam Mayor, and I want to compliment you and your staff for having put together such a great report. There was a lot of work that went into that. And thank you, Jill and Kathy and everybody else involved in the staff. And thank you, Scott, for you and your team for putting that together. I am here to speak in broad terms in support of the Arts and Entertainment District, its redesignation, and its expansion. In 2001, just 20 years ago and a little bit, the first A&E district of Hagerstown was approved by the state of Maryland, and there was a young mayor at the time named Bob Rucci, who was the mayor in 2001. 10 years after that, we were also involved in getting it redesignated and slightly tweaked, enlarged. And I do want to say that this program helps with the quality of life in our city and in our county. And historically, quality of life opportunities like arts and entertainment creates a vibrancy, and it's key to a community to be able to have successful economic development. You heard Jill say earlier that there are across the state of Maryland 29 arts and entertainment districts all across the state. Some communities, like Baltimore, have multiple A&E districts. These districts each reflect traditions and evolving cultures of their communities. They invite both visitors and residents to come and be a part and to experience the best that those communities have to offer. These A&E districts are unique local experiences, and this community is just like that, a unique local experience. All of the things that she listed that we already do is going to be even more so when we have an enlarged and recertified district. This is all about, for instance, attracting visitors. And we know we love it when the visitors come here and they spend money and they leave and they take with them wonderful memories of what they found here. And we don't have to build those visitors a new school or a new sewer plant. They leave their money here behind, helping our local economy, creating jobs, creating some tax revenue, yes, and creating investment. For instance, last year, A&E districts across the state supported more than $148.6 million in Maryland's gross domestic product, $10 million of creation in state and local taxes, and 1,454 jobs, making $47 million in wages across those 29 districts. This is about incentives and reinvestment and resources that encourage positive economic impact. Am I for this district? Absolutely. I think it's going to be great for the city of Hagerstown. It's going to be great for the residents and great for the visitors to come here. So thank you very, very much for letting me speak, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Mr. Doug Zaruba. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Doug Zaruba. I live at 145 Summit Avenue, right across from the proposed stadium. And I sent a letter into the A&E group that was looking at redistricting this, and I just wanted to say that I'm in support of expanding the A&E district. But I have some serious concerns about some of the things that were included and a lot of things that were left out. And one of the things that I see was left out is that we don't seem to be including a lot of artist residences in this. We're doing a lot of commercial spaces and a lot of development spaces. But like, for example, on this block that I live on Summit Avenue, I'm one of 4 artists who live and work there, but we're not included. There are several other artists on Potomac that live there, and they're not included either. I'd also like to see, on Jonathan Street, we included the roadway, but not the houses, to your point, Kristin. And I would love to see that develop as more of an arts center for the people who live there, because you get a tax incentive for redeveloping their property. One thing I'm looking at, though, is the proposed baseball stadium, and we're calling it a multicultural stadium. Now, the stadium seats 5,000 people. The infield would hold another 3,000 people. That puts this stadium on the same par as Wolf Trap. You'll need parking for 3,000 vehicles. Where are they going to go? Do you know what it costs to do a concert of that size? I asked the people in charge of Chief if they had any idea. They've never even talked to a promoter about this. Well, I've had experience in the music business, so I contacted some friends that I know to ask what it costs to have some of these shows come. For a stadium of that size, we're looking at a minimum per act of $500,000. Staging on top of that is going to be at least another $100,000 for the staging and lighting. On top of that, you're going to have ticket sales, you're going to have ushers, you're going to have a lot of other stuff involved in this. So the average cost of doing one of these shows is over $1 million. Has anybody really looked at that? Can we seriously consider a $1 million event like that, or 8,000 people coming into town? I would love to see, a big event like that, but where are we going to put them? We don't have parking for that. Wolf Trap has 40 acres of parking. What do we have? We're talking about building a parking deck that holds 300 cars. So we're 2,700 cars short. Who's going to take care of security for an event that size? What if somebody decides to storm the gate or storm the stage and people get hurt, like they have in other concerts? Are we prepared for that? Has anybody even considered what's going to happen with something like that? You're going to need security. And for a concert of that size, they told me we're looking at about 150 officers. That's a lot. How many medical personnel are going to be required to be in there? So I'd love to see these things happen, but I think we need to think it through a little bit more than we have. We're hoping it's going to all happen. And I don't think we're not putting enough homework into this thing. I'm also looking at the revenue that's coming into this. Most of the things that we're including, like the Dolman House and such, are nonprofits. This is a major for-profit operation that we're giving a huge tax benefit from, the largest tax benefit in the city. With a venue of that size, if they do a concert, that's going to be a huge amount of money. We're losing that tax base. We're paying for the stadium. In a roundabout way, we're paying for it. Who's going to really end up paying for it? And I'm afraid, I think Kristin brought this up, we may see our property taxes go up. And they say, well, your house will be worth more being across from the stadium. What that means to me is that the assessed value will go up, the insurance rate will go up, and the tax will go up. But I don't get any benefit from it.
You don't get any benefit from that if your property goes up in evaluation? When you want to sell your property?
Only when I sell it and leave. But if I live there, I'm going to lose money. So if I stay in Hagerstown, I lose. If I leave Hagerstown, I gain. I'd rather stay. I don't want to leave. I just put a lot of money into fixing my house up. I love the house. I love being downtown. So I'd like this, a little bit more thought put into how we're going to be supporting this for-profit organization. Maybe we're going to leave the baseball stadium out and make a separate district just for the stadium at some kind of a rate that they can live with, but maybe not the same as, losing the whole property, not the property tax, maybe a little bit, but we're looking at the entertainment tax. That's going to be huge. That's millions and millions of dollars. So That's all I wanted to say. I'm in favor of expanding the district, but I want to see way more artist residences put into this, because I think we need artists downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments, and I just want to make it clear to anyone who may be watching, and I know you addressed that it's a for-profit entity, but the stadium project is not a City of Hagerstown project. We don't own it, we are not planning it.
We're not funding it.
We're not funding it. This is a completely separate, so the things about the concerts, and we don't have anything to do with that. That would be up to the property owner and the team owner and things to figure those types of things out. I just wanted to make that clear because I think there's a lot of misconceptions that the City of Hagerstown is building a baseball stadium and we're going to own it and operate it and run it, and it is not. It is a completely separate business venture, and it just happens to be, thankfully for us, in our downtown. So I just wanted to, for everyone watching, clarify that.
And for everybody watching, I don't know Mr. Zaruba. I just happen to be a citizen that pays taxes just like him and has the same questions.
Me too. I pay taxes too.
And I know that the stadium is not a city operation, but it's going to impact us with police, with fires, with trash. It's going to impact us in a lot of different ways.
Thank you. That's fine. Up next, signed up next to speak, we have Mr. Al Martin.
Good evening. I am here this evening, Al Martin, 13702 Woodland Heights Drive, Hagerstown, Maryland. I've been a lifelong resident of the community, and I'm here this evening speaking on behalf of Greg Snook of the Hagerstown, Washington County Industrial Development Foundation, who sends his regrets he's out of town and couldn't be with us this evening. Chief has sent a letter of support. My role with Chief is I am a volunteer board member and the assistant treasurer of the board. And let me start out by saying a little bit about Chief. It is a community-based group that was organized over 60 years ago by civic and community leaders. The time Governor Lane, who the Bay Bridge is named after, was one of our key board members, along with Merle Elliott, who recently passed away from Smith Elliott Kearns and Company. And Chief's purpose was to facilitate community and economic development. And it started with acquiring the land that later Mack Trucks was built on back in the late 50s, early 60s. And since that time, the shareholders, initially it was a group of citizens that put $100 in stock. It's a non-dividend paying group. The money that has been generated by property sales over the years and a number of endeavors has been plowed back and reinvested back into the community. Chief's first project of MAC led later to the county's first industrial development on Governor Lane Boulevard at Williamsport, later to the 7081 Business Park off of Hewitt's Crossroad, the Williamsport Searfoss Pike. It then later was involved in helping to bring Citicorp here and acquiring the property that Citicorp located on at the north end of town. And since that time, continues with other business parks, most recently being Mount Etna Farms. In the city, Chief has been a great partner. In my 30 years as city finance director, we participated with Chief in a number of endeavors. One of the most significant ones was the acquisition of the Fairgrounds property that now is Fairgrounds Park. That was acquired by Chief from the old agricultural mechanicals group that was a private stock owner, dividend-paying organization. And when they lost their racing dates or sold the racing dates and their 10-year payouts stopped, they sold the enterprise, and to keep it out of private development hands, a housing development or something else, Chief bought the property, formed a separate nonprofit, and for a number of years owned the fairgrounds. For a while there, I remember it having at the grandstands a number of concert venues there, certainly not on the scale that was mentioned earlier, but smaller concerts. And ultimately, the city was interested in acquiring the property to create that wonderful active recreation park, and Chief partnered with them in an installment sale agreement over 10 years using 100% program open space money. And as you can see, it's become a jewel in the city's crown from an active recreation standpoint. Other projects have involved working with the city on redevelopment of the Arts and Entertainment District, acquisition of the Double T Tavern, acquisition of the Town Tavern that helped form the basis for the 38 South Potomac Street Bulls and Bears and Walker Building projects, assisting in property that later became the A&E District parking deck, assisting in the Maryland Theater in acquiring property that ended up creating a front end that now is a $15 million expansion by removing, I believe, I forget whether it was Town Tavern or Double T there. But Chief has been a good civic and community partner in helping to improve and invest in our community. Our board members are non-paid. No one is personally benefiting. We have one paid employee, and that's our executive director, who keeps us all together. We continue to do and invest in the community what is important and to help redevelop. We're excited that we were able to work with the state legislature in bringing to downtown Hagerstown a record investment of $70 million. Not local tax dollars, not state dollars, but lottery proceed dollars will be the source of repayment through the Maryland Stadium Authority. What the city of Baltimore got in the O Stadium and Raven Stadium, we now have something similar here in Hagerstown, in downtown. That will have a significant impact on the surrounding areas. You look at what Frederick did in their $45 million investment in a storm flood control project that is called Carroll Creek, that was a key part of their downtown redevelopment. And look at what happened. I remember as a kid, back in the late 60s, early 70s, seeing what downtown Hagerstown looked like. It was far worse than anything that Hagerstown has ever looked like. And I think we can be very appreciative of the impact those investments have in encouraging others to make investments. So we have submitted a letter of support for continuing the A&E district and its expansion. We look forward to continuing to be a good partner with the city, the county, and our community, and investing in creating better lives for our citizens here in Hagerstown. We are not some out-of-town developer trying to rape and pillage and take money from our community. We want to be good community partners. We have been, and we will continue to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Ms. Kristin Holt.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening today. My name is Kristin Holt. My address is 17733 Perlite Way, Hagerstown, Maryland. I am a resident here for all of my life, born and raised at 448 North Mulberry Street. I am also a business owner here of Captivated Culture, and many of the small businesses that I work with are inside of the Arts and Entertainment District or right outside of the lines. I am honored to be a member of the Arts and Entertainment District Advisory Council, and I am here in support of the redesignation. I thought long and hard about what I wanted to say today, so I really want to keep it short and simple. A huge goal of mine since I've been a little girl is that we create and grow rich, diverse cultural experiences here. And we can say we want to be like Frederick or Baltimore or DC, but we are Hagerstown. And it's time for us to start living the here and now like it's already here and now. A huge goal of our advisory council was, after listening to the listening sessions, extend those lines out to the rich, diverse culture that has lived here for so long, so that we can grow as a community economically and, quite simply, diverse. I believe that once we continue to support that and grow, we will look like our own city, the city that's already been here for years, just a much stronger one. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. All right, last to sign up today, we have Sherry McCord.
I don't find myself to be a speaker, so I'll try my best. My name is Cherie McCord. I'm a native of Hagerstown. My current address is 214 Hager Street. I am a business owner. I'm the owner of Bloom's Alley, which is an artisan market looking to open this summer, June. I named it Bloom's Alley because, again, I am a native of Hagerstown. My grandparents, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother grew up in Bloom's Alley, which was a neighborhood off of Jonathan Street. I'm doing this for my family, for my community. I want to give us an opportunity. I was invited to the Art and Entertainment District listening session, and when I heard that Bloom's Alley would be taken out of the Art and Entertainment District, it was devastating to me, to say the least. To know that I had already been working with artisans that were looking forward to having those incentives, people from Hagerstown, artisans from Baltimore, Montgomery County, looking to place their art in downtown Hagerstown. So I'm here in support of the district as a native, so I hope that you guys approve it.
I'm sorry, I didn't sign up. I don't know if I got time to talk.
Yes.
So my name is.
State your name, please.
All right, my name is Devontae Dinkins. I live at 264 South Prospect Street, Hagerstown, Maryland. I'm actually the owner of Legit Management, which is the property management and investment firm in downtown Hagerstown. I'm originally from DC, PG County area, but I graduated from Frostburg State. I have background experience working at a development company, one of the fastest growing development companies in DC as an asset manager. But at Frostburg, my degree was in business and entrepreneurship. So when I got into development, one thing that was important to me was to kind of invest in the community, but attract entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs solve problems, right? So having them in the community is important. Having people from the community. I think we brought up the project, the Greenwood District, right? The Greenwood District is pretty much just a bunch of entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, everyone that you would probably want in your downtown, like kind of pushing them to a certain area, right? Because the other thing that's important about development is not only the larger projects, right, but it's creating neighborhoods. So when you go to these different areas, it's the economic development that happens, but it's also people that live in these different neighborhoods. So I think not just the Greenwood, I feel like other neighborhoods kind of need to take on some of those type of models of creating neighborhoods where people want to live and stay. I'm trying to think. I think that's pretty much, and to piggyback on some of the things this man guy said about the artists, right? So in the Greenwood District, we're bringing artists lofts to the area, right? When you think about parking and things like that, if you have more people that live downtown, they can probably walk, right? Save you on parking. Having friends that live there, people might just Uber, things like that, that just people might not be thinking about, but just bringing those entrepreneurs to help you solve some of those issues are going to be important as your city grows. So that's it. That's what I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was everyone that was signed up to speak. Is there anyone else who would like to? Oh, yes. Do you want that? Okay, I'm sorry.
Take it away, Donna.
There was an email received yesterday from Carter Gesper, address is 1830 London Town Circle, Hagerstown. Mr. Gesper submitted a letter stating that he does not reject the idea of an improved arts and entertainment district. He understands the rejuvenation of the city can be positively impacted based on the potential financial influx with the proposed improvements of this plan. However, he is concerned how the proposed tax breaks and potential increases in property value will impact an area of primarily lower income residents. He worries about the residents who are already struggling, such as those on low income, with mental illnesses, or who are experiencing homelessness. He would like the city to ensure that thought is being placed in not just bringing an increased arts and entertainment district, but a broader scope in how this will impact a community that already needs help. He does not have a solution, but is asking for an open conversation.
His email will be posted on the city's website with this meeting agenda tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Jill, do you want to close out the public hearing?
Not certain on the procedure for the closure
I
of the
didn't know if there was
public
anything
hearing.
else you needed to add.
But I officially
Dance.
close the public hearing.
So we'll keep the record open for 10 days. All right. Thank you. All right. We have approval of the minutes.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move the approved minutes as presented for the mayor and council meetings held on January 11th, January 18th, and January 25th, all of 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's good, man.
Consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, hereby move that all the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of an ordinance, amend the city code by repealing and reenacting Chapter 140 Land Management Code.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council introduce an ordinance to amend the city code by repealing and reenacting Chapter 140 Land Management Code. The reenacted Land Management Code includes the 2021 package of annual revisions finalized by the mayor and city council. This reenacted version of the Land Management Code shall be known as version 3.8.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Adoption of amendments to the Comprehensive Plan, Vision Hagerstown 2035.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and city council to approve the attached resolution, which will adopt the Planning Commission's recommended amendments to the transportation element of the Comprehensive Plan, Vision Hagerstown 2035. All state mandated public input processes and timing of the action by mayor and city council have been met.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution and subrecipient agreement with Horizon Goodwill Industries LLC and funding to support the homeless at-risk quarantine program.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for mayor and council approval of a resolution approving a subrecipient agreement with Horizon Goodwill Industries LLC. I also hereby move for the mayor and council approval of $10,000 American Rescue Plan Act funds to support Horizon Goodwill with the homeless at-risk quarantine program and approval of the corresponding subrecipient agreement. The program provides short-term emergency housing placement, transportation, and food services for unhoused individuals required to isolate or quarantine due to COVID-19. Horizon Goodwill works with Meritus Health, Social Services, and other local partners, and has received a matching $10,000 contribution from Washington County to provide program support to the homeless community. The time of performance shall be 13 months, beginning on the 22nd day of February 2022 and ending on the 31st of March 2023, or the date that all available funds have been expended, whichever occurs sooner.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, First Amendment with RECOR for automated speed enforcement system.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for mayor and council approval resolution approving a First Amendment to the agreement with Record Recognition Systems, Inc. to provide an automated speed enforcement system and related services. The new contract is based on the Calvert County, Maryland contract.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, agreement for the construction of Clara Barton Memorial.
Madam Mayor, I have moved for the approval of resolution authorizing an agreement with the Toby Mendez Studios LLC regarding the construction of Clara Barton Memorial at 319 Summit Avenue. The city will assist with construction and provide $53,000 in FY23 CIP funds for foundations, landscaping, and other amenities. Total construction cost of project is estimated at over $600,000. I further move to direct staff to develop a concept plan for the rest of the city-owned lands that would include interactive art related to innovation history of our city.
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, agreement for ownership rights and maintenance of artwork at the Clara Barton Memorial.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Clara Barton Memorial Committee and Toby Mendez Studios, LLC, regarding the ownership rights and maintenance of the artwork at the Clara Barton Memorial. Upon completion, the artwork will be donated to and become the property of the city.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval, City of Hagerstown Sustainable Communities Renewal 2022.
Madam Mayor, hereby move that the mayor and city council approve the city's 2022 application for renewal of the Sustainable Communities designation.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of fiscal year 21 general fund surplus allocations.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval to complete the following allocations and plan utilization of a portion of the FY21 general fund surplus as follows. Number 1, Hagerstown Fieldhouse / Indoor Sportsplex, C0041 project transfer a total of $2.2 million from the general fund balance to this project, which represents local funding to cover remaining Phase 2 and Phase 3 design development, plus a portion of the construction work. Number 2, downtown redevelopment of 32 North Potomac Building, C0854, transfer a total of $1 million from the general fund balance to this project, which represents local funding to cover architectural design and some of the renovation costs.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of support for the Black Economic Empowerment Summit 2022.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of funding of $2,000 to support the Black Economic Empowerment Summit 2022 being held on March 12, 2022. This one-time contribution will be considered a sponsorship of the event. Colleen Johnson was present during the mayor and council work session on February 8, 2022, and requested this funding. The funding source for the $2,000 is the approved communications budget.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of citywide mowing contract 2022.
Madam Mayor, I move for the mayor and council to authorize and approve the renewal of the citywide mowing contract for the contract term of March 15, 2022 through December 15, 2022. This is year 1 of 2 optional 1-year renewals. The total contract amount is $222,941.82 and will be divided among the departments as identified in the attached table.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. City Administrator.
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Alshire? Councilmember Brucci?
That was
Councilmember Burnett?
I have something.
Me too.
Fine. Yesterday, I participated in another speaking arrangement with Jack and Jill of America, Western Maryland chapter. This is an organization that is youth-driven by a group of moms for Black kids from ages 2 to 18. And yesterday's forum was on voting rights and advocacy and activism. But one of the questions that was asked to the kids, which I want to share with you guys, is what are the issues that you believe needs change in your community? And these kids stated more Black history in schools, environmental awareness, water quality, prove that, and how much water is left. A child said that. Food for the poor and homeless, more charities, and gun violence, more food options for vegan and gluten-free people. And stemming from that panel discussion, I met a young girl named Madison Davis. She's an 8th grader from Boonesboro who has been involved with the student member board of Board of Education. And I spoke with her, and she is such a breath of fresh air. She has really great ideas for the school system and her community, so I'm looking forward to working with her. And I also invited her to come attend some work sessions just to see how politics work and, of course, meet the mayor, and that's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Martinez?
Nothing.
Councilmember McIntyre? Oh, nothing?
I have nothing tonight. You're welcome, everyone.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Mary Ellen Waltermeyer. She left, but she has been helping with the A&E redistrict, and I should have given her a shout out while she was here. So Mary Ellen, I hope you get to see this, and we appreciate you facilitating the sessions. And just wanted to say welcome to Governor Hogan, who's in town. Tomorrow, we are doing a walking tour and having lunch, and I'm going to drive him crazy about funding for our Hagerstown Field House. And I am very much looking forward to it, and I appreciate Chief's letter of support for that as well. And lastly, our State of the City, like I mentioned earlier, is next Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. at the Maryland Theater. I am the world's worst morning person, so please excuse me as I try to string sentences together that early, but I'm gonna try. And I'm excited for you guys to see our State of the City. If you're unable to attend at 7 in the morning, it'll be posted later on that day, and I think you guys are gonna be very excited to see what's possible in Hagerstown. And with that, we're adjourned. You guys have a good evening.
It's like I want you to leave.